Introducing the Current Affairs Workbook. It is an activity-driven learning comprising summaries, quick facts, MCQs, true-false statements, mains practice questions, and ethics case studies, consolidated into a comprehensive workbook. Dive into our monthly magazine summary, a concise overview capturing key insights, events, and trends of the month. Unlock the power of our Quick Facts block, your rapid reference toolkit with essential facts, figures, and critical statistics. Experience our dynamic activities like MCQs and true-false statements to subjective questions and ethics case studies that refine your analytical thinking and articulation skills. Track your progress with our dedicated self-evaluation page, your personal growth monitoring and improvement tool. Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Supreme Court issues guidelines on processing of mercy petitions to states and UTs. Role of indigenous communities acknowledged in combating desertification at COP16 of UNCCD. Decent work in nature-based solutions or NBS report released. India soon to create a comprehensive anti-drone unit to secure its borders, says Union Home Minister. Action taken report on performance review and regulation of insurance sector presented in Lok Sabha. GLMC releases a report titled Navigating Tomorrow: Mastering Skills in a Dynamic Global Labour Market. In our first news, the Supreme Court has issued significant guidelines on the processing of mercy petitions to states and union territories. These guidelines were pronounced in the state of Maharashtra versus Pradeep Yashwant Kokde case, aiming to streamline the mercy petition and death penalty execution processes while avoiding undue delays and safeguarding convicts' legal rights. Now, let's explore the major guidelines issued by the Supreme Court. First, dedicated cells for mercy petitions are to be established by all states and union territories. These cells will handle mercy petitions and process them promptly within the prescribed time frame. To support this, a judicial officer from the Law and Judiciary Department will be attached to the dedicated cell. Next, information sharing and documentation have been emphasized. Prison authorities must forward mercy petitions to these dedicated cells while gathering information from police stations and investigation agencies. Additionally, there must be coordination with the governor and president's secretariats to ensure mercy petitions are forwarded to secretariats for further action. To enhance efficiency, the court has directed the use of electronic communication, such as via email, except in cases that require confidentiality. Moreover, in terms of guidelines and reporting, states are also required to issue executive orders detailing procedures for handling mercy petitions and to report compliance with the Supreme Court's direction within 3 months. Furthermore, sessions courts have been tasked to maintain records of such cases and issue notices to public prosecutors or investigative agencies for pending appeals. Lastly, execution warrants must be issued by the state immediately after the death penalty becomes enforceable. The Supreme Court made several significant observations regarding delays in processing mercy petitions. It highlighted that such delays have a dehumanizing effect on convicts, violating their rights under Article 21 of the Constitution. Additionally, the court emphasized that convicts have the right to challenge these delays under Article 32 in the Supreme Court and Article 226 in the High Courts. However, it clarified that what constitutes undue or inordinate delay cannot be universally defined and must be determined on a case-specific basis. Now, let's understand the constitutional and legal framework behind mercy petitions. Under the Constitution, the President, Article 72, and Governor, Article 161, hold the power to grant pardons or commute sentences. The Supreme Court, in the Maru Ram versus Union of India of 1981 case, clarified that the President must act based on the advice of the Council of Ministers in mercy petitions. Legally, mercy petitions are covered under Section 472 Clause 1 of the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita or BNSS 2023. With these comprehensive guidelines, the Supreme Court seeks to ensure transparency, efficiency, and the safeguarding of legal rights in the mercy petition process.
Moving ahead, let's turn our attention to a critical discussion that unfolded at COP16 of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, where the pivotal role of indigenous communities in combating desertification was recognized. For the first time, the Indigenous Peoples Forum at UNCCD brought to light the invaluable contributions these communities make towards land conservation and sustainable resource management. Let's first understand who Indigenous people are. These are tribal communities that maintain unique traditions and retain social, cultural, economic, and political characteristics that are distinct to the dominant societies in which they reside. Examples include the Aborigines of Australia, the Maori of New Zealand, and the Santals of India. Although they represent only 5% of the global population, indigenous communities are regarded as gatekeepers of green areas, which constitute 22% of the planet's landmass. Their contributions to combating desertification are immense. Practices such as regenerative agriculture and agroforestry stand out. For instance, the Mayan people use a polyculture technique called milpa. Indigenous communities also play a vital role in managing protected areas, such as the Soligas tribe, which contributes to the preservation of the Biligiri Rangaswamy Temple Wildlife Sanctuary in India. In forest restoration, tribes like the Khasi and the Garo of Meghalaya maintain sacred groves, preserving vital forest ecosystems. Their expertise extends to water management as well, exemplified by the ancient Karis or Surang Bavi system used in the Bidar region to harvest rainwater sustainably. However, despite these significant contributions, indigenous communities face numerous challenges. These include extreme poverty, forced displacement, gender discrimination, poor political representation, lack of access to social services, and the far-reaching effects of climate change. To address these challenges, several recommendations have been made. These include ensuring the inclusion of indigenous people in global decision-making processes on green area protection, granting land rights and direct access to financial resources, and integrating traditional knowledge into national and international policies. India, for instance, has implemented measures to protect green areas using indigenous knowledge. Joint forest management actively involves local communities in managing degraded forest lands, while the Green India Mission focuses on protecting and restoring forest cover. The Traditional Knowledge Digital Library safeguards traditional knowledge from biopiracy and wrongful patents, and the Forest Rights Act of 2006 empowers communities with rights over forest resources and traditional practices.
In our next news, an important report titled Decent Work in Nature-Based Solutions or NBS has been launched at COP16 of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification by the International Labour Organization or ILO, the United Nations Environment Programme, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Now, let's dive straight into the essence of this report. Its primary goal is to deepen our understanding of the relationship between nature-based solutions, employment, and their role in achieving sustainable development goals. First, employment numbers. The report highlights that 60.5 to 63 million people, accounting for 1.8% of the total global workforce, are currently employed in NBS globally. Interestingly, 95% of this employment is concentrated in Asia and the Pacific, with a significant contribution from India's Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Focusing on youth employment, around 14% of NBS workers are aged between 15 and 29 years. Additionally, women form a vital part of this workforce, contributing to 1/3 of the global NBS employment. Now, what about its economic impact? Despite its significance, NBS currently contributes just 0.3% to the world's GDP. However, there is immense potential ahead. The report suggests that green-grey infrastructure, combining built and nature-based systems, could generate an impressive 20 to 32 million new jobs by 2030. So, how do we propel the adoption of the NBS further? The report provides some key recommendations. First, it calls for strengthening national policy frameworks, urging integration of NBS into sectors like infrastructure and agriculture. Next, there's a need for training programs tailored to address the diverse skill needs, which aims to integrate NBS into education and training curricula in both rural and urban settings. Inclusivity is another focus, ensuring fair wages, safe working conditions, and social protection for all, especially marginalized communities. And finally, the report emphasizes research and data collection to inform decision making and improve outcomes in NBS employment and project effectiveness. Before we wrap up, here's a quick overview of what NBS entails. Nature-based solutions refers to actions addressing societal challenges through the protection, sustainable management, and restoration of ecosystems. These solutions benefit both biodiversity and human well-being. Examples include restoring coral reefs and building greener cities. This report shines a light on the significant role nature-based solutions can play, not just in ecological conservation but also in creating employment opportunities. With its recommendations, we might see a future where NBS becomes a cornerstone of sustainable development worldwide.
In a significant move to bolster national security, India is on the verge of establishing a comprehensive anti-drone unit to safeguard its borders. Union Home Minister has emphasized the growing threat posed by drones and called for a whole-of-government approach, enlisting defense and research organizations to tackle this issue effectively. Let's first begin by understanding what anti-drone systems entail. These systems are designed to detect, track, and mitigate unauthorized drones or unmanned aerial vehicles that may pose security risk. These risks range from carrying explosives and conducting surveillance to interfering with restricted airspace. Technologies deployed in anti-drone systems include radio frequency jammers, global positioning system spoofers or GPS spoofers, and net guns to counter these threats. The need for a dedicated anti-drone unit in India is pressing. With drones increasingly being used for illegal activities along borders, over 260 unauthorized drones were intercepted along the Pakistan border in 2024 alone. Real-time detection, tracking, and neutralization capabilities are crucial to protect sensitive areas such as airports, military installations, critical infrastructure, and large public events. Drones have also been a tool for non-state actors, including terrorists, to smuggle weapons and target civilians and security personnel. The dual-use nature of drones further complicates the threat. While they serve legitimate purpose, drones are increasingly used in combat missions and military reconnaissance. A recent example includes Bangladesh deploying a Bayraktar TB2 combat drone. Internal security has also been impacted, with militants in Manipur using drones to drop explosives, highlighting the urgency of robust counter-drone measures. India has already deployed advanced anti-drone measures to address these challenges. The Defense Research and Development Organization has developed both soft-skill technologies such as jamming drone communication links and hard-skill systems, including laser-based mechanisms to destroy enemy drones. Laser-equipped anti-drone gun-mounted mechanisms along the India-Pakistan border have significantly increased drone detection and neutralization rates. Additionally, D4 counter-drone system of Bharat Electronics Limited offers real-time detection, tracking, and mitigation capabilities, demonstrating India's commitment to leveraging indigenous technology to counter these threats.
In our next news, the Action Taken report on the performance review and regulation of the insurance sector was recently presented in the Lok Sabha, shedding light on the current status, challenges, and recommendations for the sector in India. Let's start with the status of the insurance sector in India. The report highlights that insurance penetration has increased significantly from 2.71% in 2001-2 to 4.2% in 2021-22. However, this remains lower than the global average of 7% during the same period. Similarly, insurance density saw a rise from $11.5 in 2001-2 to $91 in 2021-22, still far behind the global average of $874. India ranked 9th in the life insurance business globally, holding a market share of 3.23% in 2021. Moving on to the key issues in the insurance sector, the report brings attention to the missing middle, where around 30% of the population lacks health insurance, as per Niti Aayog. Public sector insurance companies are also at a disadvantage, facing insufficient capital and low insolvency ratios. Moreover, the absence of a clear policy roadmap to achieve the ambitious target of insurance for all by 2047 is another major challenge. To address these issues, the report makes several recommendations. These include developing new, affordable micro-insurance products to provide financial protection for vulnerable sections, bringing uniformity in TDS on GST applicable to insurance offered by both public and private sector companies, and allowing composite licensing to enable a single insurance entity to offer both life and non-life products. Additionally, it suggests rationalizing the current GST rate of 18% on insurance products, particularly for health and term insurance. Now, let's look at the steps already taken to develop the insurance sector. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, or IRDAI, has been working to ensure the orderly growth of the industry. The Insurance Act of 1938 provides a strong legislative framework for insurance businesses. Furthermore, government schemes like Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana or PMSBY, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana or PMJAY, and Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana or PMFBY have significantly contributed to expanding insurance coverage across the country. With these insights, it's clear that while India's insurance sector has made progress, there is still a long way to go in bridging gaps and ensuring inclusive growth.
Ahead, let's look at a crucial report released by GLMC titled Navigating Tomorrow: Mastering Skills in a Dynamic Global Labour Market. This report highlights the increasing significance of cognitive skills and STEM capabilities for the workforce of the future, particularly in India and the Asia-Pacific region, where the growing demand for fields like artificial intelligence and data science is reshaping labour trends. The report identifies 4 key global forces shaping labour demand. First, economic globalization is creating immense opportunities through global trade, but also increasing competition, leading to job losses and skilled migration, exemplified by brain drain in India. Now moving on to shifting demographics. Countries like Japan and South Korea face shrinking labor forces due to aging populations, while young populations in countries like India can benefit from a demographic dividend with investments in education and jobs. The third force is technological change. A study by the McKinsey Global Institute in 2018 projected that automation could displace 15% of the global workforce by 2030. Lastly, climate change emerges as a significant disruptor, particularly in labor-intensive sectors such as outdoor work and emergency services. In India, 32% of the workforce seeks reskilling due to environmental concerns. But the silver lining lies in the green economy, which is projected to create 24 million jobs by 2030. To navigate these challenges, the report outlines a comprehensive way forward. It emphasizes the importance of governments to share real-time data to guide training and curriculum, like Australia's model. Moreover, inclusive education programs such as India's Skill India mission plays a vital role in offering opportunities to marginalized groups. Public funding and incentives are necessary to reduce barriers to training, particularly for small enterprises and individuals. Continuous learning through lifelong upskilling and reskilling with both technical and soft skills should be prioritized. In India, 70% of professionals seek upskilling opportunities. India has already taken significant steps to address these evolving labor market dynamics. Initiatives like the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and the National Policy on Skill Development and Entrepreneurship are fostering a robust skill development ecosystem. The Visiting Advanced Joint Research or Vajra Faculty Scheme facilitates global knowledge sharing, while investments in education through programs such as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan ensures a strong foundation for future generations. In today's Place in News, we will discuss Bulgaria with its capital, Sofia. It is in news as Austria is dropping its veto on Romania and Bulgaria becoming full members of Europe's Schengen free travel area. If we talk about its political features, it is a country located in Southeast Europe on Balkan Peninsula. It shares borders to the north with Romania, to the south with Turkey and Greece, and to the west with North Macedonia and Serbia. Moreover, Black Sea coast of Bulgaria forms the eastern edge of the country. It is also a member of NATO and European Union. If we talk about its geographical features, its climate varies from continental to Mediterranean. Its major rivers are Danube, Meritza, Struma, etc. and its highest peak is Musala.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Amrit Gyan Kosh portal on the iGot platform, jointly developed by the Capacity Building Commission and Karma Yogi Bharat, has been launched. The Capacity Building Commission aims to empower educators and enhance the quality of public administration training across India. This comprehensive repository curates best practices from across the country, aligning with 15 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. The latest RBI survey shows weakened consumer confidence in India's economy, employment, and spending. The Consumer Confidence Survey, or CCS, is an economic indicator that reflects optimism or pessimism about the economy and personal finances. It gauges the economy's health from the consumer's perspective. Typically, high confidence leads to increased consumer spending. Recently, the Union government named the 26th RBI governor. The RBI governor is appointed by the central government as per the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. The process involves the Financial Sector Regulatory Appointment Search Committee, which consists of the Cabinet Secretary, the current RBI governor, the Financial Services Secretary, and 2 independent members who shortlist the candidates. Recently, Prime Minister launched the Life Insurance Corporation of India, or LIC's, Bima Sakhi Yojana. It is a stipendiary scheme exclusively for women with a stipendiary period of 3 years. The stipend is Rs 7,000 per month for the first year, Rs 6,000 per month for the second year, and Rs 5,000 per month for the third year, subject to conditions. The scientists from the University of Bristol and UKAEA have created the world's first carbon-14 diamond battery, a sustainable power source that can last thousands of years. The diamond battery uses the radioactive decay of carbon-14 with a half-life of 5,700 years, an isotope commonly used in radiocarbon dating to generate electricity. A recent study found that an extract from the traditional fermented bamboo shoot variety of Tripura, popularly called Melia amyle, has anti-obesity effects. Bamboo shoots are young sprouts that emerge from the underground stems of bamboo. They are edible and a popular ingredient in many Asian dishes, known for their unique flavor and texture. Recently, scientists experimented with a genetic modification of malaria-causing parasites to prevent them from causing disease. Earlier studies largely focused on GM mosquitoes. Among the 5 species of malaria parasites, 2, Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium vivax, pose the greatest threat. A recent study revealed that releasing seized tortoises into forests without scientific planning could worsen conservation efforts. Indian star tortoises are solitary animals. They do not hibernate but stay inactive when it is very dry, hot, or cold. They are mainly herbivorous and exhibit a distinctive obsidian shell with sun yellow star patterns. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.